by Philippa from Luminous Face Yoga. Philippa, it's so great to have a little bit of your time today to learn all about the power of yoga for the face. And I'm really excited to really take a deep dive into the power of moving the muscles in your face, I guess, as we all do with our bodies. And it just never kind of occurred to so many of us, the importance of it. So welcome. Tell us a little bit about Luminous Face Yoga, which has just taken off on Instagram. And what is face yoga?
So, we'll start with Luminous, which is it's an online platform for people who want to look at their face health holistically and naturally. So we put a lot of focus on face yoga because that really does take that holistic approach to, how you look, being connected to how you feel, and not to say that we're against, invasive treatments and that sort of thing, but we personally made a conscious decision. Camilla, my sister, and I are the founders, and we personally made a conscious decision when we were sort of early 30s that we wanted to not take that route. We had a lot of friends who have gone down the Botox route. We looked into it, decided wasn't for us, but that we were going to look at other ways to do it. And so we trained as face yoga teachers and really fell in love with it. It's just such a fantastic way to really look and feel your best, but without turning to anything too dramatic. So face yoga itself, it sort of encompasses a number of different, I guess we call them pillars. So we do face exercise, which is all around exercising the muscles in your face, which, as you say, we exercise the muscles in our body. So why would we not do the same for our face? And if you tone up the muscles in your face, then obviously your face is going to look more lifted, the skin is going to look smoother. It makes so much sense, but it does sound a little bit wacky if you haven't heard of it before. So that's face exercise. Face massage. This is definitely a little bit more mainstream these days, which is fantastic. So massaging your face, which is a really good thing to do because it promotes the production of collagen and elastin, those really important plumping agents that we have in the skin. And it also creates, it improves your blood flow. So essentially, if you're improving the blood flow around the face, then you're feeding the skin with oxygen and nutrients. So really healthy thing to do for the face. Then there is also relaxation. So we'll probably cover this in a little bit more detail later, but de-stressing the mind and body is a really important thing to do for overall face health because it's so closely connected. And I always use this example that if you look at the Prime Minister when they leave office versus when they come into office, you can really begin to understand just how badly stress can affect your appearance. It's a really damaging thing, and actually people just don't give it enough credence that if you de-stress yourself, then it will have a really positive impact on how you look. So relaxation is very key. And then there's also just the general well-being. So the nutrition, what you're putting in your body, obviously is a really important part of that. Your sleep hygiene, how many hours of sleep are you getting? Is it good quality sleep? And then just other factors around sort of consciousness of habits. So we do a lot of things every day that actually really, negatively impact on how we look, but they're just little habits that we don't notice that we're doing because we do them every day. And so, things like, for example, having an awareness of your posture. So bad posture negatively impacts the face, and actually facial symmetry as well is connected to posture. So we look at things like that, and we look at things like, for example, these days we spend all our time doing that, looking down at our phones, and how bad is that for our sort of our lower faces? And so face yoga essentially encompasses a lot of different elements around how to look and feel young naturally.
I love that. And I have to say, I had no idea how deep the whole movement went, because you don't need to tell us at Art Organic the power of nutrition, the power of sleep. it's the new kind of way to biohack the body, isn't it? To understand how all of these things work together. But I really do feel that a missing piece is the exercising of the facial muscles. And I know for a fact that when I go for a massage, and since having had kids, which we were laughing about before we got on, was that I used to think a massage was a total luxury before I had children. And now I see it as an absolute healing treatment, a necessity for body and for reduction in stress. So that's really interesting to understand all the kind of body of work that you guys cover. So let's get back a bit. I'm really fascinated to hear, because I'm a massive believer that if there's one industry behind food where I'm trying to affect change, that really is going to have to start washing its face a little bit, excuse the pun, and being looked at more closely, is the beauty industry. There's a lot of unregulated cosmetics, unregulated treatments, unregulated use of chemicals that are in most times toxic to the body, but women aren't made aware. So why do you think that this more holistic approach should be taken over the alternative? What did you and your sister basically discover when you were looking into it?
So we do love products. So we're not averse to skincare products. You should see our bathrooms. Like, the shelves are absolutely packed full of different products, and we do love products. But from our point of view, firstly, there is that awareness of what is in those products. What are you putting on your skin? And I think clean beauty has become has been had a bit of a backlash lately, because obviously chemicals are everywhere. We're made up of chemicals, and I think sometimes it's being used as a marketing kind of term, sort of the idea of clean beauty,
greenwashing of beauty, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think we have to be a bit careful about that, because obviously sticking a massive price tag on some products and calling it clean just isn't necessarily the right thing either. But I do absolutely think we need to be really conscious. The skin is the biggest organ in the body, and its power to absorb is huge. And so we do want to be mindful about what we are putting onto our skin. But I think where face yoga really comes in is that actually, we don't slap on a cream onto our body and expect us to look toned. We don't really expect that from the things that we put on our body. We know that they moisturize and they help different bits and pieces, but we also know that we need to put in a little bit of work ourselves to give whatever products we're using a little bit of help.
But and with our face, sorry to interrupt there, Philippa, I wonder if people do think that, because I actually, and my mom and her generation included, chat to a lot of women who go, well, this is going to lift my eyes, and this is going to tone my brow, and this collagen topically on my skin is going to impact the shape of the face. And I actually think to myself, no, you've been over marketed to, because nothing comes for free, as we well know. You don't walk into a gym and walk out toned. No. And what really upsets me a little bit in the beauty industry is that the marketing is so powerful and so honed that it makes women believe that you don't have to, move your face as you would your body to see the results.
Absolutely. And then that's the thing. I think that comparison to sort of what we feel we ought to be doing with our body and the effort that we have to put in for a healthy body versus a healthy face, it's just we haven't caught up with it in the face, sort of when we think about our faces. And it's interesting because I think it sometimes gets leveled at us that face yoga is vanity. When we're posting about things that you can do to reduce wrinkles and all of the rest of it, sometimes, occasionally, and it's rare actually, but we do get people saying, oh, age, everyone ages, and and it's vanity to care about it. And we go back to the principle of actually it's face health and it's face fitness. And what we're talking about here is, toning the muscles. When is toning the muscles ever a bad thing? We fully accept that in the body. Yeah. So why not in the face? And I think
it's the default human condition, isn't it? Well, you're going to die anyway, so you might as well smoke a pack of cigarettes every day. When I hear that, that's what I think. And I think to myself, interesting, because it's not about, as we say, as entrepreneurs and people trying to build businesses and trying to build families, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Which means that if you want to go along the journey with 1,000 wrinkles and dried out skin and not feeling radiant or luminous, which is a perfect word to use in this example, then go for it. And if you want to be, hardly able to draw breath into your body and feel unwell on a daily basis, but in terms of what we learn at ASA, living with chronic illness, autoimmune conditions, then go with it. So it's actually about how you choose to live day to day, how you choose your journey to be. And if you're going to affect that change in your body, you're going to affect that change mentally, which we're all learning now with mindfulness and the power of keeping the mind still. And for me, what's been most amazing is learning how to do less, not more.
Yes.
Then what is it that is most focused on in your day-to-day lives? Let's look at each other, case in point right now, the face. And so I just feel to label something like an exercise for the muscles in your face and to affect the general well-being of your appearance is really sad that someone would label that vain, because I think, again, the default human condition is to look at yourself in the mirror and want to feel radiant, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, I don't think anybody, thinks it's particularly vain to go and put an anti-wrinkle cream on your face. Everybody's doing it, especially when you get past a certain age. But why not actually take the time to put the foundations in so that, that product will do a little something, but why not kind of create the foundations for it, to do it so that really, that naturally you don't need to be kind of, trying to sort of, buy whatever is the most expensive cream on the market to do something which probably, as you say, it's not even going to do. But I just think it's quite interesting because that how you look and how you feel sort of connection is huge. And for me personally, when I was in my early 30s, I was getting very, very bothered and down about the fact that I was a chronic overexpresser. So I would any time I caught myself in the mirror, even if I was just shopping, if I was thinking, I often kind of go through conversations in my head with people if I'm kind of, if you're angry or you're whatever. And I suddenly walk past a shop window and realize that my eyebrows I was up here like this for no reason at all. Or I was like down here like this. I had no control over what my face was doing. And anybody who knows me always laughs that my face, lacks a bit of control over my feelings. But face yoga taught me that actually, you don't need to overexpress all the time. It's not to say that when I want to be really surprised and I want to raise my eyebrows, of course I can, but I don't need to be doing it all the time. So some of the exercises will teach you to just to have a little bit more control of your muscles because you've strengthened them and you've trained them to relax. And so actually, over time, the decrease in the lines and wrinkles in my forehead, because I learned to stop going around like this all the time, has been huge. And for my self-esteem, it's been massive because, as I said, early 30s, I was thinking, my God, I'm going to look terrible, in sort of 15 years time if I keep going this way. And it was really, really bothering me. And so for me, it has been quite sort of significantly impacted on my self-esteem to have seen that I've reversed that trend. So
amazing. And I just think that if we are taught time and time again in all the elements we've discussed, what we eat, how we treat ourselves, how we talk to ourselves internally, our mental health and our facial health, like anything that can build self-esteem in a natural way and allow us to learn techniques and tricks ourselves, I guess is so powerful. And so what I love about this is that I'm all about toxic load in the body, and so many of women that I meet through Us Organic that come to this gut health way of living and stuff have such severe toxic load on their body from what they're putting onto their skin, let alone the diets that they're eating day in and day out. So it really does really makes me happy when I feel like people are being inspired around making change themselves and having the power to do that. So let's get to the nitty gritty. My question is, how often, how long, and what results am I going to see? And since you've talked about overexpressing, I've been looking at myself in the camera 100 times, overexpressing every word, thinking.
No, but I mean, no one wants a forehead that doesn't move. It's just that realizing that you can kind of have a bit of a bit
and
more.
maybe potentially if you're in a conversation with yourself, or it's that ability to have control and remember that the wrinkles in this area are affected simply by a muscle. So sorry, myself. Let's get back to how often, how long, and what results can we see?
Sure. So how often? I mean, ideally you would do a little bit 5 or 6 days a week. And when I say a little bit, 10 minutes would be great. And I know that sounds, oh my God, everybody's so busy. Like, when am I going to fit 10 more minutes into my day? But actually, it's a really easy thing to fit into a day, because especially once you've really got some of the key techniques down, if you learn some of the really important ones, and then you can fit them in around your day. So some of the stuff, I will do when I'm putting on products in the morning. So a lot of the massage, you can, work your products in with some of the massage techniques. Then the same with the evening. You can choose some different ones to do in the evening because you're already, using a cleanser on your face, or you're using a serum or whatever. So you can easily incorporate those into what you're already doing. And then apart from that, I sit on the sofa at night. I mean, we're all sitting there watching Netflix, half the time. Why not just sit there and just do a little bit? Once you know the exercises, it's really not hard to sit there and just for a few minutes just do it, and the difference that it makes over time is so worth it.
Yeah, and after now I've had 3 children, as we were laughing about earlier, and I know you've got a daughter as well.
Yeah.
I found I was holding a lot of tension in my jaw, and so mine started naturally by working on the mental side. For me was actually telling my jaw at night, do not clench, do not clench.
Yes.
Do not clench, do not clench. My jaw would not clench.
Yeah.
But I had to work all the stress out of this part of my face. And so I used to just do it myself for fun. And then when I got introduced to tools like Gua Sha tools and stuff like that, I would just say to any man, and my husband as well, I said to him, I'm like, you got to try this. Take and so my question to you is what he and I do, which is hysterical, is we each take 10 minutes while we're watching TV, and it's relaxing to yourself effectively.
Yeah.
But are there really any rules? So I'm not someone who follows a recipe when I'm baking a cake, which my kids well. I'm just not that person. Like, it's like, oh, you add some flour, and I don't eat flour because I'm paleo, so I'm going to add extra butter. Boom, boom, shakalaka, here's a cake. So if I
more or less works.
Can I do that with face yoga? Can I just massage?
There are certain rules and techniques. So if we start with massage, or let's just for a second start with Gua Sha, because obviously that's something that you really love. So there are some things that you definitely want to make sure that you're kind of sticking to the principles of it. So for example, I haven't got a tool handy with me, but you want to make sure that you're getting a lot of the flat of the stone against your face as you use it. So you don't want to be using it at 45 degrees, and you don't want to be using it flat. You want to be using it sort of at that angle on your face, so a decent amount of pressure of the stone to your face as you do it. So that's important. You also want to, where Gua Sha is concerned, warm up the neck as much as possible first, because with Gua Sha, and again we'll probably talk a little bit more in detail later, but you're doing some work on the lymphatic drainage system, and you've got a lot of lymph nodes down here in your collarbone, so in collarbone area. So you really want to warm up lymph nodes before you start to do the Gua Sha, because that way you have more success in moving that lymph fluid away. So they're quite key. And then as well with Gua Sha, when you're doing lymphatic work, firstly, you're often draining down. You're draining out to where the lymphs are on the face and neck. So you want to be heading out there. When you get to where the lymph points are, you want to give a little wiggle to kind of just help stimulate the drainage.
Okay.
And with lymph work, often you're going down with very, very light pressure. Where if you're using Gua Sha for sculpting, you can be a bit firmer. So if you're using the Gua Sha on your jaw, for example, to sculpt the cheeks, then you can definitely apply a little bit more pressure with that. Hand massage. So I guess key principles with that would be you're usually, unless you're doing lymphatic work, which rarely you are, but you're working upwards. So your face is very suggestible. So the muscles in your face are very suggestible. So you're always wanting to use upward motions as far as you can. So I
remember being taught that as a child by my mom, just to rub up as much as you can. So that's really interesting to know that.
Yeah, and I think what's really important, if you enjoy facial massage and exercise, is to just have a look at what the muscles in the face look like. Okay. So study the picture, because it really, really helps when you're thinking about massaging or exercising, to really kind of think, okay, so I'm working under this muscle here, or or this is the platysmal muscle, or I'm using to picture them. Like, for example, around the mouth, we've got a donut shaped muscle, the orbicularis oris, and really understanding how it's formed is just really helpful in terms of thinking about what you're doing. So face massage, yeah, I would say they're the kind of key things. But there is definitely sort of, you want to do what feels right, definitely, and there are some really kind of key exercises that it's really worth knowing about. But it should always be up. You should be getting down into the muscle as far as you can as well. So you don't want to be dragging
in, down and in.
Yeah. So for example, we do a massage technique where we pinch the cheeks, and you're not pinching up, you're pinching down, because you're trying to stimulate that muscle, because you're stimulating the collagen production in the muscle. So
fascinating you say that stimulation of natural collagen production. I believe that is where you can affect change in the skin. I obviously believe, based on also organic, that ingested collagen is also beneficial to the body. But I think that at most times, topical collagen can be lost. Yes. So I would say if you want to affect a change of the elasticity of the skin through collagen production, the stimulation of the body producing its own collagen, or the kind of spiking, which I guess creates injury and then therefore repair, works hand in hand with ingestible collagen, which allows collagen at that level. So let's break down then, and that's really good for me to know, and thank you for that, is that yes, you can mess around and massage and have fun with your face, but just to have a gentle or very kind of 101 education around the muscles in the face and the ways in which to move is really, really interesting.
And then when you go to exercise, that's a little bit more complicated, because you really do want to sort of, to really know what muscle you're working, and you have to learn, and it's not hard, it just takes practice to learn how to isolate a muscle as you use it a little bit. And also you need to provide resistance, because people always say, I'm expressing all the time, I'm always doing this, so am I not working out my forehead doing this? No, you're not really, because you're not providing resistance. So in the gym, you use weights to provide resistance for the muscles, and we use our hands to provide that resistance for the facial muscles. So I think that face exercise is definitely a little bit less intuitive until you really understand what you're doing, I would say.
And that's a fascinating insight for me, because until you mentioned the kind of pillars we talked about earlier, I assumed that Gua Sha was effectively face exercise, and that I was getting it done by doing that.
Right.
So let's talk quickly about Gua Sha versus face exercise. So we now understand that face exercise is like, you wouldn't, anyone off the street walking into a gym for the first time, we've all done it when we were younger, you need a guiding hand. And so that's face exercise, stimulating and isolating using resistance. And in this case, it's the hand. So Gua Sha then is completely different in terms of results. Is that correct?
So Gua Sha is a form of, really comes into a form of massage. So, if you can massage your face with your hands very, very effectively, and you can also, and sculpt with your hands, and you can do the same with Gua Sha. So Gua Sha is, as you'll know, it's an ancient Chinese healing technique using a crystal stone, usually made of something like jade or rose quartz, or a stone that's got kind of healing power. And so the difference with Gua Sha is that it's more massage. You are toning the muscles through massage, especially where you're doing the sculpting. It's great for lymphatic work, so really helping to depuff. Some of the stones have a natural coolness to them, which is an added benefit, especially if you keep them in the fridge. So really great if you suffer from kind of fluid retention in the face. And there are also healing properties associated with the different crystals. So whether or not it's a placebo or not, people do perceive an effect with the different crystals that they use through Gua Sha. And people often have a crystal that that for them feels like the one, the right one for them to be using. And so Gua Sha also, it kind of frees up the energy flow around your face, which it's sort of known as qi, and it's the idea that energy blockages, create an unhealthy face and body, and being able to flow up the energy around your face is a really positive thing to do. So I do all of it. So, I don't Gua Sha every night. I do Gua Sha a few nights a week. I mix it up, and I think it's a tool to have in your kit, really. Like, it's fun to do different things as well, just to keep it interesting. So, you don't have to Gua Sha every night. You don't have to do hand massage every night. You can kind of mix it all up, keep it interesting, and they all complement each other.
That's fascinating. And the way that you delineated massage from exercise is a real learning point for me. And I love that. I also love the way you talk about chi energy, because I'm massively into chi energy within the body, and, all the meridians based on the way that your gut health and the way that you eat. And so effectively, people see it, and they depict it a lot in cartoons and stuff, is how women specifically age can link to their chi. So you can see like a haggard, old, mean and nasty woman. And you can see like a gentler soul that's aged gracefully. And, we talk about these things in the way we talk to one another about life in the world. And so really putting them into practice is powerful. And an energy block in the face can be really detrimental to flow of success in your life, flow of love in your life, flow of joy in your life. And I know because, we've all been there when we've got stuck energy. And so I think it's beautiful how this kind of work can really work on that energetic level and get flowing as much as it can tone muscles.
And it's an interesting one, because I know that for some people, the idea of energy blockages and things sounds a little bit kind of woo-woo, but actually, when you really strip it back, our whole bodies are made of particles. Go back to a GCSE science. We're made of particles which vibrate, which give off energy, and it just makes total sense when you actually strip it back to really, sort of basic science. But for some reason, it's kind of, I think got lost a bit, where people think that it sounds all a bit kind of, not necessarily rooted in science, this sort of that side of it, but actually it is. You just have to kind of just think back a little bit to how we're made and composed and all the rest of it.
Remember that science, in its purest form is magic, isn't it? Like a lot of that is really magic. And so I'm also working really hard to try and bring that back to people, to help people understand that you can affect your own chi, you can move chi, you can flow you can unblock your own energy, and sometimes it just takes, again, a guiding hand. And that's why the work that you and Camilla are doing is really, really powerful. So one more question before I kind of wrap everything we've learned up. And I really have actually really picked up some things, especially for, as you said, someone like myself who works in the gut health and the spiritual space. And I think that Gua Sha is just a known thing. Not everyone knows about Gua Sha, but it is. Everyone knows about yoga for the body, and you just have to attend a yoga class to know how difficult it is, A, and how beneficial it is, B. And so all those learnings have been great. But you spoke earlier about working with the lymph nodes in the neck and bringing the energy up towards the lymph to then come down and out. So effectively, the work that we would be doing on our face with the platform Luminous is really powerful in detoxing the body. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think some people forget how connected the body is and the systems in the body. So, sort of when you think about face health versus gut health, they seem like, geographically a long way away, but all the systems are connected. And so if you're working on your lymphatic system in your face and ridding yourself of the sort of the dead skin and the debris and the toxins in your face and working them out down, then of course, it impacts your overall health. And obviously the lymphatic system is a really important part of our immune system, so it's really, really important to look after it. And someone once explained to me that when you think about the blood circulatory system, it has the heart to pump, so the blood pumps around because of that pumping motion from the heart. The lymphatic drainage system doesn't work in the same way, so sometimes it does need a little bit of help to really push the fluid into the right direction. So that kind of made a lot of sense to me when I was training, that of course, it's really, really important to have that lymphatic system working really well.
Well, I think for anyone, men and women alike, who have learned about the powers of the sauna, the powers of dry brushing on your skin, and massage in general, any sportsman, any athlete, physiotherapists, all they are doing really is helping lymph flow through, and effectively the movement, again, after a strong exercise of lactic acid, support of this system that detoxifies the body, only makes your toxic load lighter. Detoxing, taking away toxins, and allows the body then to run more efficiently. So I think that that's really powerful, that alongside the ability to use resistance training and isolate and then move certain muscles in your face, that also you are giving a signal to your body to detoxify and therefore strengthen your immunity. And as you said, the function of the body and the way that we all don't understand how connected the body is. You don't have to look far to see a number of doctors that are also trained in acupuncture or acupressure. And the real basis behind that is the touching of certain points at anywhere in the body can help stimulate labor, can flush the gallbladder, can help support kidneys if they're under stress from kidney infection. And so it's so powerful to see it all kind of tied together.
And then when you throw into that, the kind of this stress release, the stress relief aspect of it as well, because obviously we all know that when we're under stress, we produce that hormone cortisol, and that sort of fight or flight motion sort of the body takes the blood away from the skin, and so you can see why the stress negatively impacts on you in that way as well. And stress, I mean, God, stress can bring on a heart attack, so why can't it affect how you look and feel? And I think the one thing I would say I really love is that the beauty and the wellness industries do seem to be getting closer together. I think people are beginning to knit the two together a bit better, and understanding that there is more of a holistic approach to the whole thing, which is great. And obviously, what you do with OSA sort of feeds into that perfectly, because we have a skin a resident skin therapist and a nutritionist, and they're always talking about just how important what you put into your body is on what how you look.
And I think that they work so beautifully hand in hand, and we've seen a number of teenagers specifically, and women at hormonal periods in their life, which is beginning of a period, beginning of menopause, childbirth, breastfeeding, where all the hormone balances in the body change. We've seen women clear full facial acne just by changing what they consume and what they eat, and reducing inflammation in the body. And how exciting that once you've then cleared the skin from blemishes, you can then tone and exercise it. And as you said earlier on, Philippa, like, this kind of stuff for people is not vanity. This is life-changing, and this is what makes you put your shoulders back, hold your head up higher, be more confident in yourself. And if you can't have that as a human, I don't feel we should take that away from women, especially. There's nothing wrong with brushing your hair and feeling beautiful. And I think it's the same goes for, like, I've heard so many great people speak about founding businesses and being an entrepreneur in the space that gives back, or in the space that is trying to change the world or whatever. That doesn't mean those people shouldn't be making money or lots of it at the least. So you can put your shoulders back and feel beautiful. And I think that we've just learned so much today. And I just want to do my last question, which is how does this whole process and all the pillars around face yoga and exercise and massage link to gut health, if it does at all, in your opinion?
So, I mean, I think that it's probably a bit of an under-researched area. I think there's very, very clearly a symbiotic relationship between gut health and all of this. It's very clear, and things like when we're going back to the lymphatic system, you can see how important gut health is, because actually, for example, we can see that it can negatively impact, if you're obese, your lymphatic system can be really negatively impacted by it. So there's definitely a symbiotic relationship between those two things. And you just need to kind of, just as we said earlier, just be really, really aware that the body is a whole, sort of, you can't kind of just address one element of it. You just got to kind of think of it as everything's connected, all the systems are connected, just take that holistic approach.
I love it. And I think for me, the absolute confirming point there is that what you and Camilla are teaching people is to lower toxic load of the body, help the lymph system drain out toxins from the face and other areas, affect a beautiful and radiant smile, and give people self-confidence. And if that doesn't help, based on the fact that you've worked hard, and I would say in most cases people do potentially come to gut health first because it can be a crippling issue.
Yes.
But that, with the rest of the body all connected as one, is what's called holistic living. And there's an amazing doctor called Thomas Cowan who wrote a book about, I think, the fourfold path to healing, which addresses all the 4 elements of health. And what I also love about our chat today is that we're not saying go out there now and buy this, you know, it's like free and easy, amazing things that you can do in your life that, you know, as women, as men, as children, as mothers to children, as fathers to children, you know, you can affect real change in the quality of your life day to day. And I think that, you know, a broad smile, your shoulders back, a good functioning gut, a happy heart, you can do anything.
Love it. Totally agree.
Well, thank you so much, Philippa. And everyone, you can find Philippa at Luminous Face Yoga. We'll tag her and her sister Camilla, who are doing a great job helping people move their face. We know that everyone has made it a priority where they can to move their body. And I think this is really the next step further from there. So if you're interested in gut health and like me, you're interested in biohacking and just keeping your system in tune and all aligned, then I think that face yoga and at least the platform Luminous is definitely something you should check out.
Thank you so much. Lovely to chat, Catherine.
Thanks, Philippa. Thanks so much. Cool. I'll get Lee May to cut it there.
Great.
Thanks so much for your time. It's so fascinating.
No, it's really, really interesting. And yeah, I emailed earlier about potentially kind of doing something else, you know, a little collaboration. Brilliant. So I'll contact Lee May about that.
Perfect. And where are you guys based?
Well, we're based in separate locations, actually. I'm in London. Camilla's in Oxfordshire.
Okay, cool. Where are you in London? We're in Parsons Green.
Oh, well, I'm Chelsea, so we should meet up sometime.
Okay, yeah. Well, right now I'm in Antiparos in Greece.
Oh, how lovely. Lucky you.
So divine. So we've just got a wedding here. We're off to kind of like a wedding barbecue thing now. And we've got a wedding that was cancelled from last year and it's been put on Saturday. So it's really, really nice. And yeah, we got out fine and it's 30 degrees and, you know, the world.
Oh, so jealous. That sounds amazing.
Oh, it's gorgeous. But yeah, I'll definitely be in touch when we're back. And thanks so much for today. It was a pleasure to chat.
Not at all. Thanks so much, Catherine. Speak to you soon. Enjoy Greece.
I could